I'd like to call to order the September 27th, 2023 Arlington Conservation Commission meeting. Can I have a roll call, or at 7:01 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Jim Doran.
Pat
James
Gemma.
Gates.
Oh, sorry.
Kevin Smith.
Pat Gemma. I never know which way we're gonna go.
Always this way. Meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and or deletions. 3.3, Mike Fleming expressed interest in joining the Conservation Commission after his last go around with us, and unfortunately can't make it tonight, so we're going to be scheduled till the 11th of October.
What was the particular with him?
That's 100 Fitchburg Road,
Mhm.
the one that filled in the man-made pond.
Oh, cool.
So. Alright, if there was anything else I needed to add. Chair's report, most of it's covered under the staff report section. Met with town admin the 14th of September just to discuss interim operations until we fill our vacancy. And then we also met with Jim Smith regarding the culvert on Old Meeting House, and filing the notice of intent for the culverts that were replaced, and how he can move forward and reapply for the grant to put the proper box culvert in there.
He is reaching out to an underwriter.
He's already he's already reached out to the engineer firm, and
The traveling one, the one that's in the state that does all the different towns, they'll
Or-
underwriting for grant money.
not yet for that. He's reached out to the engineering firm to get quotes to bring that plan up to stream crossing standards and what it's going to cost, and if we should apply for a grant to pay for that, the engineering cost, or if the town can absorb it.
Work on the grant money, the town can't
So-
sponge too much, I assume. You guys have lots of money, Joe?
We're doing our best. Yeah.
No, he's working it, and DEP asked us for movement within a month, and then they said, well, 6 months, if you get some movement, we'll be happy. So they understand where we're at.
So what I assume they're gonna ultimately get the two culverts in,
The 2 culverts are in,
the new ones,
yes,
so it's secure. Did they pour
Safe.
concrete on the tank?
no, it's still has steel plates, but it's safe.
Anything had to been better than it was, it seems.
So they're gonna start the process of
Good, that's a real good.
applying for the grants and getting it re-engineered to meet the stream crossing standards. So there is progress. And then miscellaneous building permit site visits. There hasn't been many, but I have gone and looked at some of them to help.
I took a quick ride down for the second time to the house just beyond the fire station and the harbor.
61 Edwards. Yes, actually I can add to the chair report. Colby did draft a letter. And this is gonna be covered in the staff report, so I'll let Jessica run with it, but I have
So was
a
it
path I'd like to navigate for.
officially handed to him? So it was acknowledged he
not yet.
received it?
It has not been sent yet, but
Okay,
we got a little bit of guidance on
good.
how to proceed with enforcement as a
Yep.
whole from DEP.
Oh, okay. Kim or the other guy?
From Mia.
Okay. Good.
So we have a 1.5, review and approve the meeting minutes from 8/9/23. One of the land use office staff helped and typed them up. I don't know if we wanna look through them quick. She just did it today,
I'll,
but we have, Jessica, you can help me out on this one to explain. We have to,
Oh, I should have done my research before this. I think meeting minutes are due within 30 days or within the time span of 3 regularly scheduled meetings. So tonight is that 3rd meeting. So, every meeting here moving forward, you will need to catch up on meeting minutes.
I don't think I'm gonna catch anything in it that, unless one is what's on quick. Do you have them?
yes,
I can do them quick. Am I the only one?
no, they haven't seen it.
Question on 66 Bayberry. I didn't sign that paperwork. Did that hold it up?
That didn't hold that up. Right, Jessica?
What? Sorry?
66 Bayberry. Jimmy didn't sign that paperwork, but did it get held up?
The order of conditions?
Yeah.
No, that went out like a while ago. So we're good.
She would have called you,
You know?
hunted you down, maybe stolen some garlic from you. Yeah. Jessica, do you mind going through the staff report? While Jimmy reads through the minutes, we'll circle back.
All right. So, dates covered September 13th through the 27th. Building permit, interdepartmental signatures, 18 West Meadow Estates Drive, 73 Meadow Road, 16 Clement Road, 1 Trophy Road, 9 Fox Run Road, and 152 North End Road. That was an administrative approval that I completed today. So I made a note about the conditions issued on the administrative approval in the building permit sign off as well. No referrals were completed. Board of Health interdepartmental signature for septic at 184 Fitchburg Road was done. Issued 2 determinations of applicability for 19 Worcester Road and 4 Highland Street a few weeks ago, both with -3 determinations. We have a current application for request for COC for 27 Scales Lane, but after a site visit last month, we are waiting on additional information. Miscellaneous happenings, the enforcement order and the order of conditions at 158 Main Street. We're just sort of keeping an eye on that for compliance and inspections. DEP has a 401 water quality cert that they're reviewing currently. There was a site visit to 88 Meadow Road early last week, following a request for an emergency certificate made. A letter of determination was mailed a couple days later, and we have an appointment with that resident tonight in a few minutes. We reviewed an old order of conditions for 187 Pierce Road. That one's still preliminary at this time, but their permit has expired, but they never did the mitigation for that. So we will be reaching out in some fashion in the next few days. And then the latest fees,
On that fashion,
What number PS Road again?
187, it was during your time, but I don't think you were, you had, I don't know if you had gone to the meetings for that? I didn't
Who's,
see you.
who,
This was 2020.
who was the client? Whose name was it under?
Yes.
the residents,
Yes.
but they were represented by their engineer, their civil engineer, or their wetlands
Who
engineer.
was the
Who
applicant?
was the applicant?
John and Samantha Morris. Their engineer was David E. Ross and Associates, I think. And then the builder was Benjamin Builders.
What's the issue with that, Jessica?
Well, James, why don't we push this to a little bit later so we can continue? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on with that, don't.
All right. And then just last thing was the fee schedule that you guys revised at your last meeting was approved by the Board of Selectmen. So that is now in effect. So congratulations. So yeah, any other questions? We can talk briefly now. If not, it seems like all parties are present for the appointment.
So I'm going to add 3.5, 187 Pierce Road.
Morris doesn't ring a bell.
So it's on the Ash Street side. There
Okay.
was a stream crossing involved.
Is that, there was a gal that did some solar panels up there and she was in the 200-foot riverfront. That's the only one I
No, this
recall.
was a brand new house,
All right, it was done by Benjamin.
but the permit was under the property owner.
Morris.
So their permit has expired and mitigation areas have not been completed.
They were started.
We'll discuss
How
that.
how did the book get closed without finishing reading the
Both is
chapter?
closed.
Okay, that's all you need to know. Good.
Well, no, there's more. We'll talk about it, at the end of the work session. We'll keep it short and sweet, but
Yes, sir.
we got guidance on that, from town council.
They had to get called on that one.
There was some, that and,
Had to been
another
some-
one.
Okay.
So, did everyone,
Oh, so,
did you see anything in the meeting minutes from 8/9/23 that there are questions on?
No, it was
as well.
Want to thank Allison for helping us with that. She's the grant administrator who stepped up and helped us.
nice. Good to write them up.
Yes. I got bogged down with some other stuff.
Will we be updating, any luck with the new advent?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I meet with town
Also,
admin on Thursday, so we need a motion and a second.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the 8/9/23 minutes.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote, please.
Approved, Jim?
James Gates, yes.
Kevin Smith, yes.
Pat Gemma, yes.
Okay.
Sweet, so, hearings, appointments, 2.1, Mr. Dave Schaefer of 88 Meadow Road. He is present with us.
Yes,
Thank you for joining us.
thanks.
You might come and sit at the table and,
Is there a sign-in sheet, you know?
no, it's not a hearing. Should.
Yeah, you should have signed it.
Here we go.
Thank you. We also have Mia McDonald's here from Massachusetts, DEP for this discussion, and, Jessica, do you mind starting us? Thank you.
All right, so sorry, let me look at my calendar real quick to make sure I'm right. On Tuesday, September 19th, I spoke with Dave Schaefer of 88 Meadow Road. He had called to request the issuance of an emergency certificate to replace the culvert underneath his driveway. So it is a single family residential lot. About an hour or two later, James and I went out for that visit. And there's a intermittent stream which is flowing pretty highly at the time, just because we had 2 inches of rain on Monday. An intermittent stream flowing through maybe a 15, 18-ish inch culvert. There was no indication. We didn't observe any, big structural failure or collapses or anything. The bottom of the culvert had sort of eroded or corroded, weathered away. But in our opinion, the situation did not seem to be an emergency. So the commission, or, on behalf of the commission, we decided that it did not constitute an emergency situation. So the request for emergency certificate was denied. So we did do a little bit of homework with DEP too on this one, which is also why Mia is here. She's our regional circuit rider, our technical guru expert for the WPA. So we did offer to Mr. Schaefer that if he feels the situation truly is an emergency and does choose to proceed with the work, that he does so at his own discretion. We have to be notified within 24 hours of that work occurring, and then a notice of intent would need to be retroactively filed within 30 days of the start of any site work. Also, just as any standard NOI procedure, that any work that he would do outside of an active order of conditions is subject to change based on the review of that permit application. So based on that, Mr. Schaefer just requested to come before the commission and discuss a little bit further. And so here we are tonight.
Mr. Schaefer, if you don't mind discussing with us why you think that this constitutes an emergency, and any pertinent information that...
Jimmy, can I just ask one quick question?
Yes, sir.
Is it collapsed?
No.
Is it holding back water?
One correction, it's a 24-inch diameter culvert. So, the reason I'm here tonight was not to argue the denial of the emergency certificate, but to try to move forward as quickly as we can with a notice of intent and order of conditions. I had a few questions I wanted to verify from a regulatory perspective that I'm on the right track. I can give you additional information relative to stream flow and what conditions are like.
Well, this year they have certainly not been normal.
Huh?
This year they certainly have not been normal.
No, this has been a lot wetter than normal, unfortunately. And the stream is clearly intermittent. There's no question about that. The drainage area to the stream is less than 0.1 miles, or a tenth of a square mile, excuse me. Just for comparison, the riverfront determines, or under the riverfront regulations, they look at 1 square mile as one indicator of potential being perennial.
It's just used as a rule of thumb. It's one of the indicators that they use.
It's an indicator.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at a tenth of a square mile, so it's delineated as being intermittent by the USGS. It's also it's a NWI wetland under the National Wetlands Inventory Program. So and it drains into the Squanicook River, which is a Class B cold water fishery and outstanding resource water. From a regulatory perspective, it looks like the commission certainly has jurisdiction over a new stream crossing. Massachusetts has stream crossing requirements. There's also, because it's an outstanding resource water, I'll need an individual 401 water quality certification from MADEP to go with it. And I will also need a permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I believe it's going to be GP 17.
Why does he need approval from ECAC?
Not ECAC.
So Mr. Schaefer was,
Army Corps of Engineers.
so he was the chair of Townsend Conservation Commission in the 90s?
Yeah, late
Probably, I was
90s.
gonna say somewhere around there, pretty close to 2000, 20-something years ago,
Yeah, a while ago.
when I stood on the other side of the counter.
So, I mean,
No,
I
I don't know,
understand he
why
has
do
his
we need, why do you need that?
Army
permit?
Corps of Engineers, is
The Army
that
Corps
just a
Engineer.
sign off for your high and low water flows?
No,
Because it's
under,
intermittent and it doesn't apply.
under the Army Corps of Engineers programmatic general permit, this would be characterized as fill in waters of the U.S. and therefore Army Corps has jurisdiction
Mhm.
for placement of fill. And they have general permits or programmatic general permits assigned to Massachusetts. GP 17 is the one that deals with residential properties and minor dredging.
Alterations.
Right, right. Although DEP does not consider, they will not consider this minor dredge and fill in an outstanding resource water. It's a major permit. So there's multiple layers here. I think in terms of, I think the first stage is filing a notice of intent with you guys and, you know, allowing the process to move forward from there. And shortly after that, if we're, since it's a replacement project, under the stream crossing criteria, stream crossing standards, I have to demonstrate, you know, that we're gonna meet the crossing standards to the maximum extent practicable.
If I can ask you, what brought you to the board looking for an emergency? Did you see what you thought was, that pipe was compromised in any way, or the fill would eroded around it, or?
Oh, what's happening, it's a corrugated metal pipe,
Yeah,
and what's happened over time.
blowing off the bottom and it's rotted through and,
Yep.
yeah, okay. So
And-
it's compromised
And
in spots.
what's happening now, the rainfall event on September 11th, that was about a 25-year event. We got 5.5 inches. I monitor
Couple
rainfall.
100-year event. wouldn't
It
you
wasn't
say?
a
No.
25-year event. By no means, it was an accession of a 100-year event. That much
I
rain
think
in
that's how
that
they-
short
I think
amount
that's
of
what they
time.
determined.
Well, if I look at the rain, I think the rain fell over about a 24-hour period on September 11th. At any rate, I mean, I look at the rainfall.
So it was
Frequency, yeah.
inundated, but I can assume that the culvert was inundated and it wasn't, you weren't able to flow all the water out?
No,
What
it's-
was like Kevin said, what brought you
Jessica,
to
do
an
you have-
emergency?
Is the bottom of that pipe compromised because it's corrugated metal pipe is?
Yeah.
Rusted out.
The bottom of
There's
it's
nothing
compromised.
left to it, but the top is still there.
Yeah, but
Still,
I guess my question is, if the bottom of that pipe is compromised and you had that much water flow go through it,
That's when it starts.
has it pushed silt and aggregate out from underneath the pipe that was gonna cause that pipe to be structural in the event the man has a fire at his house?
Yeah,
So it did move the bank on gravel through, and you could see the deposit on the outlet side. Did it deluge the middle of the pipe? No. The
What
bottom.
is the structural integrity of the pipe? It sounds like it's rotted through.
Jessica, do you have the pictures?
I can tell you what's going on if you want.
No, that's fine, but some of us are visual and.
I'm having a hard time with it, because if the bottom of the pipe was compromised and the aggregate has gone under the bottom of the pipe.
So it
Now you have these,
almost looks like it's countersunk
okay.
at this point,
Okay.
because the metal's just gone.
Mhm.
Charlie,
So
can I
you-
have screen sharing permission, please?
This is kind of what the bottom. of the
Okay,
pipe-
give me a moment.
But now you've got a situation with the bottom compromised.
Right.
Yeah, well,
And
actually,
if the aggregate's
Yeah,
gone.
Excuse me, Dave, can you hear me?
yes.
Could you
Well,
please give Jessica screen sharing capabilities? I can't do it from my laptop, sorry.
Question is, if that pipe is compromised and the aggregate underneath it is, if there's voids underneath there, and all of a sudden, heaven forbid, something like that happen,
Right.
which leads me to think it might be a little bit more important than,
Try it
6
now,
months,
Jess.
3 months, 3 months?
So we're not saying that it's not important, but it doesn't constitute an emergency certificate at this time because the pipe is still there. Here are the pictures.
Alright, so we get a substantial size pipe, 24 inch.
Yeah, and there was a substantial amount of water running through, and this was after the,
After the big rain.
It was that big, heavy?
not the big
No,
rain.
one
It was
Just a regular.
it was
two-
still 2 inches of
2 inches,
rain.
We had a 2-inch rainstorm.
Yeah, so,
It ended like
So
at
any
6
rain that
AM.
hits just perks everything up quick right
Yeah,
now.
Yeah,
It's
this
amazing.
is, yeah, the ground's saturated.
The ground is, it's high.
Everything's saturated. So, yeah, this is, probably 6 hours after a 2-inch, 2.2 maybe. I keep
It's
track of
gonna-
it.
yeah,
It'll be
so
flowing-
it's,
It'll be flowing heavy at that point anyway.
and there was 2 streams coming into it.
Now, this
One was,
is a private property and this is on, not a town road.
Correct.
So he wants to do this on his own private property.
can you keep scrolling, please?
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I could,
Start. So this is the first one I took. Sorry, Dave, you're in it.
that was before my haircut.
I thought I noticed a difference. So, yeah, you have sort of a confluence of two streams or drainage channels, one sort of going up parallel to the driveway and the other's coming sort of perpendicular. The confluence is pretty much right here. So you can see them going to the stream. You can see a little bit of, I don't know what the word is, dimpling, is that what you kids call it, in the driveway?
It's,
Settling,
it's-
all right.
Pushing down.
I like the word dimpling better. It sounds cooler. So anyway, there's that. Here's the culvert. I'll zoom in. I don't know if you could see it, but you can sort of see that dark line there. That's pretty much like the extent of where it's corroded away. Eroded.
So
That,
there's a degree of integrity still on that culvert. It's holding on an arching basis. So, but the bottom is like Kevin said, those rot out, they're rubber coated in the beginning. But you're right, once you lose that circular integrity,
Keep going, Jess.
you know,
I think I can probably explain
Please.
what the problem is. If we go back to one of the culvert pictures, I can explain.
Sure.
there,
what's going-
what would you like to do?
Go back to the culvert picture. I don't know if you have any of the outlet side also.
I do, yeah.
Perfect. She might change to an outlet side. Hold on. See if what other pictures we have.
Have an inlet.
That's the outlet.
Sorry, yeah, that's all I have.
Okay.
That's the outlet, that's the.
Okay, the inlet side is
Sloping
probably
side.
the easiest to look at.
Mm,
Something looking down the barrel, there, that's probably the best one. The culvert is pretty intact from this point all the way across. down to
True,
about
probably
that.
that point.
The bottom of the culvert is now rusted out and essentially non-existent. What's happening is, the bed drops maybe an inch, but the whole bottom of the culvert is now missing. And what's happening is it's scouring on the outside of the
Right.
Yeah,
the outside of the culvert walls.
correct.
That's what I was
And it's,
thinking.
when they installed it, they simply used sand and gravel.
Yeah,
They did not install it with any, well-graded material.
okay, okay.
Correct.
With any,
I agree.
so
with
now
that.
that, now that there's a gap that runs along the base of the culvert, the material is being scoured out, the driveway is sinking.
As Jessica referred to this, and I like the words, dimpling, upper
Dimpling.
road dimpling.
I like dimple.
I like that. So, no, I mean, I 100% understand where
Okay.
it's,
I can, it's not, I can explain why we thought it was an emergency if you'd like.
I don't-
no, it doesn't warrant an emergency situation,
Mr.
but it's
Schaefer,
compromised, undoubtedly.
that pipe is compromised, and I see a safety issue. There's a person
Yeah.
that deals with that just about every day, and not every day, but a lot.
Mhm.
Let's put it this way, in the course of me doing business. I'm a little bit worried about that for a couple of reasons. One, there's a lot of saturation. I believe that obviously,
Especially
the
in that
structural
area.
integrity is gone out from underneath the pipe, but what I'm worried about is the scouring and underneath where the bottom of the pipe used to be. And, you know, you've got some scouring going on around the pipe up fairly high. Pushed a lot of silt on the outlet side, as you just looked, if you know the outlet side of the pipe, you're a very intelligent
It
lad.
wasn't even silt, it was more of bait.
Aggregate,
Yeah,
it's an
so you don't-
aggregate, and that's what scares me, it's not just silt that's on the outlet side of that pipe, you've got 1.5 inch stone, you've got the structural integrity of that pipe concerns me deeply, and, if you had a fire truck may get right over if he's traveling right along, but you don't know, you got an elderly mother, I understand, living in your house, correct?
Correct.
And.
Well,
and,
she's 101.
Well, let's not, we don't have to call her elderly, but she's an aging young lady.
An aging
at
young lady.
101.
Wow, didn't see that coming.
Let's move on with this, I've got a problem. I think that should be an emergency. I think you should go ahead and do the job and we'll follow up with a notice of intent. That's my opinion.
No, and that's what the opinion in that letter expressed, or was
Yeah.
expressed. Now,
Is that through DEP? Is
no,
that,
this is through
This is through.
commission.
with who?
But this through.
Conservation.
Okay.
There's only one catch. In talking to Mia, and I had a conversation with Mia as well as Mia's boss. The replacement culvert, and when you made your visit, you saw that it's sitting
Yep.
right up the driveway, is not gonna be an acceptable stream crossing. In terms of
What
stream.
size pipe, what did you do? You bought another culvert pipe, went stone and bow that.
I bought a 24-inch
Smooth,
HDPE.
smooth,
Yeah, EDS.
smooth interior?
Pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not worried about high volume, that pipe may not take it? Is that what we're
Yeah, well,
No. Here's the issue with installing it. To do the replacement culvert is about a $5,000 repair, maybe 5 to 6. Okay. The problem is that if I file a notice of intent immediately after that, then Mia McDonald has already informed me that she's going to reject it in terms of not meeting the standards. And she's told me that I'm going to have to rip it out next summer when they figure out what sort of a stream crossing.
Do you feel that pipe should be a 30-inch pipe, or a suggestion that I would have,
So I'd
or I
like,
could make?
What's the deficiency with the DEP? What's,
so we have Mia on Zoom.
Yeah, let's see
Yeah.
if we can,
Mia, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat. I'd like you to, if you don't mind, can you please, for us, define what constitutes a emergency order? And then, transition to,
the
discussion.
issue of deficiency with what he has for
Yes.
culvert?
So an emergency order has to be a threat to the public, and it has to be ordered by a public health official that it is an emergency. An emergency cert can be issued, but just to abate the emergency, not, so a full culvert replacement. If there are any measures that could be taken that the applicant wants to propose to abate what he feels is an emergency, he could propose those. But the full culvert replacement, there's no threat to the public. There's no agency deeming this is a threat to public health. Culvert replacements, we've had one in Townsend recently where it was a threat to the public. There was a main road, 4 houses were on the other side of it, and the DPW in Townsend had to put down steel plates to abate the emergency, and even those started to be an issue and had to replace the culvert under an emergency cert, and you guys issued that. But we still expect the DPW to come back with an NOI later for an evaluation of the stream crossing. So DEP has not stated that the 24-inch is deficient. We're stating that it could be deficient. It has to be reviewed under it would likely be reviewed under a limited project under 10.538 under the Massachusetts Stream Crossing Standards. And so replacing in kind isn't adequate. We would want to see an evaluation of a 24-inch culvert and how it would perform under the standards of 10.538, which, let me just read those to you really quick. We would look for an evaluation that evaluated the following: the potential for downstream flooding, upstream and downstream habitat, in-stream habitat and wetlands, potential for erosion and head cutting, stream stability, habitat fragmentation, the amount of stream mileage made accessible by the improvements. This is the really important one: storm flow conveyance, engineering design constraints specific to the crossing, like elevations, any utilities, which I don't think there are in this case, hydrologic constraints specific to the crossing, impacts to wetlands that would occur by improving the crossing, potential to affect property infrastructure, and cost of replacement. So we'd want during the NOI process, we would ask the commission to evaluate the applicant, to present an evaluation for these standards. So just replacing in kind and an emergency certificate does not present this evaluation. It doesn't give the opportunity for this evaluation, and that is a risk. So myself and my supervisor, Kim Roth, we did say that this is a risk, that if the homeowner proceeds at his own risk to replace the culvert, he could then hire an engineer to do the evaluation. It comes up deficient, and the commission would then have to ask him, or DEP might ask him, to replace that 24-inch culvert if it's found to be deficient with a culvert that meets these standards.
Is there any more, Mia?
No, I think you asked me to cover what's an emergency and if the 24-inch culvert would be deficient.
We've done that in an overflow situation, and we've been like granular volume works.
So, Mia,
Because more than 99% of the time, volumes never through this.
right,
This acts as an emergency. Yeah, this to this.
so hypothetically, if Mr. Schaefer was to put 2 culvert pipes in instead of 1, is there, I'm trying to think of how to word this, is there a risk of him allowing too much flow?
That's what the engineering evaluation would have to look at, the potential for upstream holdback, which you wouldn't for 2 pipes, and downstream flooding, which it doesn't appear that this culvert holds back any water during storm events. Because if a culvert is sort of a pinch point, like under the road, sometimes it can slow the flow a bit for downstream, but I don't think that happens in this case. But there would have to be an engineering evaluation. Someone would have to go out on site and evaluate that.
So say Kevin's drawing me pictures with his crayons. 24-inch pipe, and then putting a 12-inch pipe next to it at the same top elevation as an emergency overflow.
It's 12 inches above the bottom to the beginning, and 12 acts as an emergency overflow.
I'm not familiar enough with the site to say that it would meet, I couldn't do the evaluation.
I know you're not, and I understand that.
I think you can pass a bucket in the evaluation.
But if he moves forward and then files an NOI after the fact, and he's found to meet the stream water, crossing standards, there won't be an issue, correct?
That's right. If you do an engineering evaluation and the 24-inch meets the standards to the max extent practicable, then, it'd just be filing the NOI and getting the site into compliance.
Right, so.
Yeah,
So.
It's just a risk. It's a risk. If he replaces it with another 24-inch, it's a risk that the engineering evaluation may find the 24-inch deficient and the commission may have to require a larger one. Especially, my big concern here that I'm observing, just one concern from the photos, is where it rotted out on the bottom. So with stream crossings, we like to see it embedded with a natural substrate, and it has to be sufficient width, 1.2 times bank full width. And so I'm not sure that existing 24 inches doing that. The way it performed kind of indicates that those weren't met, and that there could really be an improvement by embedding it a bit, getting natural substrate in there to prevent it eroding at the bottom next time, and providing a little more storm surge.
Well, it's not gonna rot either
If you look
because
at the
it's
elevation.
HDPE pipe.
If you look at the elevation from the top of his pipe now to the finished grade of his driveway, there's plenty of room. You can do
Yeah.
one or two things.
there's
that's-
plenty of room on
Go
that.
to a 30. I'd rather see, I like these, because the 24 inches flows water 95% of the time.
Right.
Water
I
level.
want to caution the commission from designing anything for him. You want to make sure that the applicant always brings you something, and then the commission reviews it, because if for some reason we provide bad construction advice, then the town could be liable.
How old is this pipe that's been there?
1992.
So it's
Kind of
awesome.
good run. Yeah.
Jimmy, you were,
We need to move forward on businesses. So much bureaucracy gets into this. The man wants to replace a 24-inch steel corrugated pipe under his personal private road with a polypropylene smooth interior line. Done. I don't understand why we got water quality tests.
We're
we're not
It is-
saying, no,
it's-
hold on. We're not saying that those are, he is saying those are required. Mia, what are the exact permits that are required from Mass DEP in order to do this project?
An NOI, whether it's
No.
after the fact or now.
But I
Nothing
don't
from
think
the
it's
Army Corps of Engineers.
How does it become we put onto his shoulders if it replaces a culvert that's the exact same size, contains it, does everything?
It's an
It
in-kind
could get
replacement
taken
though.
out, it could be ripped out next spring because it's deficient.
No,
No,
It's
no.
been,
Hold on.
no, hold on, Jim.
it's running fine all this time, it's a replacement.
It's a gamble. That's what it is.
Leave it here as a gamble. Everything is a gamble. How come
It
things
could
aren't?
be found satisfactory. If an engineering analysis is performed, maybe a 24-inch is adequate.
So would you expect them maybe to go up to a 30-inch, exceed what was originally in there just to cover the bases, to appease everyone? No, we can't do that because it would maybe possibly have an increase of water flow.
Oh, no,
Potentially.
actually, but we're not supposed to be designing it. when
Yeah,
we
it's
put-
not the commission's responsibility to perform the
Yes.
engineering analysis.
That's why NOI, replace that 24-inch, move forward.
I got two conversations going on.
No, you should only have one.
Well, there's two ways to do it. Replace, replace, I believe the man has an emergency. I'd be worried about the safety aspect of it. And I've seen those just do this.
Right.
And that one could just do this with an oil truck going over to fill his friggin' oil tank.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen one, I've replaced a lot of them.
There's no
Yeah.
question it needs to be replaced. It definitely needs to be replaced. It's just the mechanism of how it gets there.
And we're not saying he can't replace it either. And it's a matter of what path do you take? As a commission, and the other commissioners can speak independently. There's no reason, if you were to go replace this tomorrow and file an after the fact NOI. As a commissioner, I'm not gonna seek out, fines. I'm not gonna seek out enforcement. You felt it was a need to be replaced for safety. I don't, the other commissioners, please elaborate what I'm saying. Like, we're not going to cause you pain, because you replaced this because of a safety issue.
I believe there is an issue there, and as far as I would like to see you replace it as soon as you can.
And file a notice of intent.
Unanimous.
But Mia is just noting that there is a risk associated with it, that an engineer may
I don't think the man should
24
move
inch.
You need an
forward
engineer
under
for.
the premise of a risk.
What do you need an engineer for?
Man should
It's
move
worked
under the
since
premise of
1992.
replacing the culvert and being done with it. Simple as that. I don't understand why it gets into a catastrophic fault.
I agree.
It doesn't make any sense. We're dealing with the same thing in McGee's. It's just gotten into a bunch of bureaucracy, and we get nowhere with these things. Common sense, replace it, put the polypropylene in, keep the existing base of the material under there, done, moving forward. And if we can't get it done under common sense, do it under an emergency.
We're not saying it's not an emergency. We're saying,
I'm saying, this is my opinion of it, it's all this fault, all this bureaucracy. I understand our water testing, I understand we have to have things
I
done
don't disagree with that.
correctly, but we don't get anywhere, and I keep seeing
It's an
it.
existing culvert.
You're the liaison, you should be very attentive to this, because what happens is what right now in these two issues since I've come back, we get nowhere with it. And once again, this is common sense draws us to replace it. Kevin, you see it all the time. That's compromised. That needs to be replaced. 24-inch replacement, done, in and out.
Has it ever failed in blowing out the driveway? Yeah, at 24 inches.
Have you ever seen it to the point where she was swirling? That it was running a full load of water coming down that pipe?
I had full conditions on September 11th. I actually look at my culvert.
Well, there you go.
Everything nowadays is being pushed to the max.
But that particular date,
Yeah, there's 2 feet of freeboard, but,
There you go.
5.5 inches of rain is a lot of rain.
And as you can
Absolutely.
see on the culvert staining to the insides of it, that holds a very consistent flow.
Pat, you
It
have,
doesn't
Yeah, I
show.
do.
high
If you go
line.
ahead and do this on your own and file and everything, are they gonna send someone to come, an engineer, to look at this?
no,
Or
it's
they
his
would just?
responsibility to
Responsibility.
hire someone. They don't send someone out unless there's, I don't know what the criteria is for DEP to look into something like this. It's a simple replacement under a driveway.
And I agree,
think
I
it's
agree, it
a
should just be done, and, cause it's his home, he's only replaced it to make it better. And I don't see why, if this lasted this long at that size and what it's been doing, I would say put the same one back in.
Joe, you had your,
You asked me a question, we should pay attention to Board of Selectmen, we are. And I'm gonna agree with the board sitting right here, that culvert that we have on the Meeting House Hill Road, that's turned into the biggest cluster I think I've ever seen. That was truly an emergency.
and they still gave us a hard time about it.
What's that?
And they've still given us a hard time.
And
And it's not necessarily just DEP that's given us a hard time. It's Mass Wildlife, it's National Heritage, it's all of them.
And
Yeah.
the problem I see, and I'm only speaking for myself, is, such as his, it's an emergency, safety. That one over there was really a problem. They were replaced with exactly what's been there for years and years and years, but it just finally collapsed. And now they're gonna jam the town up for thousands and thousands of dollars to do all these studies, and at some point,
and then hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix the problem.
Yep.
yeah, and then we gotta change it and fix it, and I, to me, there's gotta be some give somewhere here, because the average person, accept that kind of money is crazy for town of Townsend or any other town. Towns just don't have that. It's great. I understand the state wants, they would love to see all that. That's great. I'd love to see it too. However, there's a reality of money.
We're not in a perfect world. And like I'll go back, and I don't wanna jam up your meeting, Jimmy, but there's so many things in regulations, rules, that the common man, an individual that isn't exposed to it, you are, Kevin, we have. But the regular person walking into these things, devastating. They don't, should I get a lawyer? Should I hire an engineer? It's the same thing. Common sense should drive us to do what is needed to be done. Doing Meeting House Road isn't a foot going forward. That's just stepping back again. We know those 2 double culverts have failed. We're just putting in the same thing that failed and putting steel plates back on it. Unbelievable. And we're going through all kinds of different rigmarole to do something that
Well, Mr. Schaefer.
we know Kevin knows the right thing
I'm a
to
little
do
alarmed
it.
about
Fix it
that.
right the first time, be done
I'm
with
a
it.
little alarmed about that. And,
What are you alarmed about, Kevin?
I'm alarmed about the condition of that pipe.
Then we should proceed through on an emergency
I would
status.
like to
then.
ask the man to go ahead and replace the pipe and come in and do his due diligence, come back and see us. File a notice of intent, or go ahead and start the process, but get that changed just as soon as you can. You know,
But he shouldn't be put under the pressure of
It's
somebody
worth-
from
it's-
DEP
it's worked
saying,
for.
well,
it's
we
worked-
could come back later and have him tear it all out.
That pipe has worked, that pipe. has
That
worked
doesn't work
since
for me.
1992. That, I think we've got a lot of
Missing my
100-year
point,
storms.
Kevin.
No, we've got a lot of 100-year storms since 1992. The pipe has worked, it's handled a volume of water since 1992. Man has lived there that long. Get the thing replaced, get it
Right.
safe, get it
But can I
safe.
repeat my point? Mia, this is with no disrespect. He shouldn't do the work under any premise hanging over his head where the DEP is saying to him, well, you know, we may come out this spring and look at it in deficiency, and you may have to rip that all
She didn't
That
say that
doesn't
they,
work.
that they would come out. She said that
out. Well, could you
Well,
clarify?
She said it was the commission,
it was
not
the commission,
DEP.
that, so.
So
Well,
do you, if,
you know exactly how I just.
so you're more than free to make a motion.
Make a motion, Jim, move forward, to get this thing done.
Yeah, let's move under, do we wanna go under an emergency, or we want him to
I don't-
submit an NOI and move forward with it?
I don't wanna, I
You
think,
don't wanna, I wouldn't wanna hold them up.
I don't
wouldn't wanna
know,
hold 'em
nothing's
up.
gonna hold them up. End of story. I don't have any, I'm not gonna say we're gonna hold them up. But I'm also not gonna issue an emergency certificate because it
Doesn't warrant emergency
But-
certificate, I
do
understand.
the pipe. Get it
Correct.
replaced as quickly as possible, because it is an emergency, and it's on private property though.
I
So it doesn't
understand, I understand.
Constitute the emergency certificate, but
I
just file an
understand.
after the fact
I
NOI.
understand.
But
Correct.
just know, as a commission, we're not gonna, seek penalties for anything. It's a matter of safety of your house, your property.
Yeah, I believe that to be the case, and
You have the right to replace that pipe.
Mm-hmm.
It's existing.
you gotta follow up with paperwork, Dave, you served some terms on the commission,
I did.
and, I mean.
I was
You're a
in
little
Jim's
too-
chair for a
I
while.
know you was. I feel there's a problem. I'd like to see you replace it as soon as you can, the water's, obviously, hopefully we have a little dry spell in the next few weeks, you get somebody in there, take care of the problem. Get that pipe in there, you're putting a smooth wall pipe in there, you're putting a heavy duty H20, ADS pipe in there, your problem solved, you're not gonna have to do it again in another 30 years. Like, whether you're still around to do it 30 years or not. Just the way it was, all the elevations are working, everything worked just fine from what I could see in the pictures.
Straightforward replacement. We're not adding, we're not taking anything away, common sense follow through. Needs to be replaced.
I'm more worried about Townsend Fire Department's water truck going across that thing. If something, heaven forbid, something ever
Or
happened,
their ladder truck.
or the ladder truck, or anything else for that matter, an
Right.
ambulance, if you're if you're in great shape, elderly mother at 101 years old, and something happened, I replace the pipe. Come see us later, as far as I'm concerned.
And I don't think there should be a cloud over the man's
Nope,
head.
not at all.
With anyone saying that, well, if we come back later and we view it as a deficiency, we may have to have them tear it all out and replace
And
it.
the way Mia worded it is the commission.
Yeah.
It would be our
It would be
responsibility.
our response.
It would be
Okay,
our
I'm fine with the
responsibility.
motion. Let's move forward. You wanna do this one, Kevin? You're a little,
Go right ahead.
all right, I motion that we, order an NOI.
No, we're not ordering.
No.
It's.
We allow
it's gonna
him, we
work.
allow him to,
We're gonna
Under
allow.
Notice
an NOI, notice of intention.
Yeah. We're allowing him to proceed.
May I speak? I don't think you should vote for anything. Just, the letter's been sent. Maybe ratify what Jessica wrote. It sounds like you agree with what Jessica wrote, that he may proceed at his own risk and
Agreed.
file an NOI within 30 days.
It's in that letter also.
Yeah,
Okay.
check the letter. It sounds like you agree with what she wrote.
Yes,
No, it is. We go around in a circle, cut
That's
through it,
good.
and
That's
then
what a
around
commission
again,
does. Yeah.
and we get there. We raise our voices sometimes and
And we just want to see an after the fact NOI, whether it's an emergency cert or not, we would like, all work within a resource area.
so we don't need a motion really for that.
just ratify the letter.
Just duly noted.
It's always compliant.
Yeah, I'll put that in. as
And that was
duly
sent
noted.
certified. It was received on the 25th.
Yeah. God bless them, move forward with it.
Do the work.
So you're motioning to ratify the letter.
Correct.
Do we have a second?
And he'll work on it, and
Second.
he'll,
I'll second that.
right. And he knows what to do with the
He's gonna take care.
other paperwork, I know.
I'm sure he
I think
does.
he's pretty familiar on how to fill out a notice of intent, as I recall.
Yep. Okay,
So Jimmy, roll call vote, please, starting with you.
Jim Doran approve.
James Gates, yes.
Kevin Smith, yes.
Pat Generally, yes.
All right. Maybe we could have done it
Thank you,
quicker,
Mr. Schaefer.
but, you know, it's all for your entertainment.
Thank you. Mia, can I give you a call tomorrow?
You want, yeah, I'm always around.
Mia is always responsive. So at any point, if anyone needs her contact information.
Just matter last week.
Yeah, everybody can call
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Mr. Schaefer.
anytime. Thank you for taking the time and inviting me.
Welcome back to the
Thank you.
select board chamber. It's probably been a couple
Bye,
years.
thank you.
Come see us if you got any spare time on Wednesday nights.
You want
Every other Wednesday.
Thank you for your service.
You know, I did a 6-year term. I think I don't know if I've said this.
But you're ready for another 6 years.
I
Maybe
think
you
so,
only
why
got to do
not?
3 this time.
It's a blast.
It's a-
I need someone to sit right there. I need a break for a little bit.
He
You
needs
know,
a vacation and you
I
can
told
still.
Jim he's only got 18 more months of his service.
Good night, thank you.
We need good
Thank
people
you,
like
David.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah.
on the board.
Thank you, David.
Jessica, I hope you're not too mortified.
What?
Jeez. We hope you're not too mortified, used to it.
Did you hear
Oh,
Kevin?
I was mortified this morning already. Don't worry.
So,
What happened this morning?
nothing.
What?
My
Even you're
coffee.
laughing, what did I miss?
You didn't miss anything.
I don't know.
Someone got pumpkin. You know, it might have been better than the garlic.
Well, one never knows.
Now I get it.
Now you got it.
Now I get it. All right.
Who wants to kick the budget topic to the next meeting? Do we have a lot next meeting?
Yeah, let's talk budget next meeting.
I printed everything out today, but you
Well,
can,
it's not gonna change.
We've got a whole
Oh, well,
15 days.
revenue for fiscal year 24 will, a little bit.
Well, actually, Jimmy, can we just
It's pretty
have
quick,
a
ain't it?
quick discussion? Yes and no.
Well,
Yes,
I was, you don't have to
actually,
know the numbers, but James, what you and I were talking about earlier, just about, having a, anything to draw from for any miscellaneous expenses would be nice.
So we utilize, you know, there's the agent and support staff that's in the clothing allowance. The clothing allowance is part of the union contract. Can't do anything with it, which is fine. Doesn't really matter.
It's not much money.
What?
It's not.
No,
We have a clothing allowance.
per union contract for employees is $600 annually. Allows them to buy permethrin for their clothing, boots,
To Jessica,
or Matt, one, either.
Wow, with Willis.
Right. So there's that we don't really change that. We also have dues and memberships, which we, what is it, $500 for the year we're budgeted, and you max that out in the first minute we have.
Yes, yeah, so real quick, just, I'm not gonna open any of the sheets, but I think the annual, like the current for fiscal year 24, the budget for CONSCOM is like 47,000. 44-ish, maybe 44,500 goes to salary for the staff. So that's leaving about $2,000. 600 of that 2,000 goes to clothing. 500 of that 2,000 goes to memberships and dues, so MACC dues. So right then you have, 2,000 extra minus 1,100 already. So we have less than $1,000 for an entire year to cover everything else. So we, that $1,000 goes toward office supplies, postage. So
And even, I think we robbed some from the land use department.
yeah,
so even when we post the meetings and paper, that comes out of what? And when we go to MACC classes, that comes out of that, or does that
What
come out of
word,
WPA still?
Jessica?
you
It
want
was,
to look up something else. WPA. So I forgot about that one.
Right,
But I mean, there's a a limited. It's more for technical assistance. We can't pull, to hire some consultant to help us with something. So
that's another thing is we don't have the funds to be able to hire an independent consultant. We don't have funds to maintain or to even mark
Even
the
when
bounds
we
of conservation
does
properties.
that get held against us when we need to talk to legal? Or does that stay in-house? That doesn't
Mr. Shane?
hold against us?
No, when council's under contract. so
Contract
you
with
guys
town.
talk- Yeah, when you talk to council,
Okay.
it's not like adding a clock.
All right.
If it goes into court and something like that, I think that's separately.
Just making sure I have a good idea how much of that money's getting consumed. And that,
Nothing to talk to town council from that budget.
right. All right. All right, so
They're an
is it
in-house
time
person.
we approach the selectmen that we need?
I think we need some sort of revolving account, and either so that we can use for, we have a line item, professional services. What do we use our professional services for?
DEP doesn't cost us money. That's a professional service.
I think that can be used for, like if a staff member or a commissioner wanted to go to a training of
Or,
some sort, some professional development thing,
oh,
maybe.
I found a line item. I don't want to call you out in public about it, but you get hurt at work?
What?
2021?
I wasn't here in 2021.
I was wondering that.
That's gotta be. That's gotta be it.
Yeah. All right,
I don't recall anybody on the commission getting hurt.
no,
It was a 2-year period I wasn't here, but
I think it was Hinkle probably.
Oh,
The
Hinkle?
former
Well, it's under Jessica.
She wasn't here then.
When did you start?
August 21.
Yeah, this is the 30th of September 21. It's only $120, not to UMass Memorial Health, but
Oh, that was when an employee when an employee starts, you have to get a physical.
And that would come out of the commission's budget,
Yeah,
Apparently,
hiring somebody,
apparently, as Jessica said.
Take
yeah, that's what happens.
a drug test, things like that.
Everything,
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
ask the questions. I can't lead into questions.
I'm asking you, we get dinged for that?
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The commission does?
Each
Yeah.
department, whatever,
Okay,
You hire
is in their
somebody,
budget, you hire somebody, you gotta send them
Okay.
out,
Yeah.
that's part of your
Say-
budget.
same like the mandatory drug tests.
Right.
Your employer has to pay for them,
Yep,
right?
no, I know, yep, okay.
yeah.
No, but, so, we're trying to understand this, because
I
we're
think
still
it's-
left with,
Sure,
we're left with what? $500? Nothing?
It's nothing, it's, you left with nothing.
we're barely able to really
we-
probably send anybody to, an MACC
Yeah, yeah.
class right now.
Well, that comes from the WPA, correct?
Wetland protection.
Yeah, this.
Well, what's in there for wetland protection, that only comes out of what is accrued with fines. Issues like that.
So, wetlands, we received $2,300 last year from the
Really?
So
WPA.
well, I would say, when you draw up your budget, this is where it all has to stem from.
Right.
You guys have to, Jessica or whoever's gonna draw up the conservation budget.
Yeah.
Has to present it to Eric. In return, he goes over it, and then it comes to the board.
Reviews.
We review it and kind of approve it. So what I'm hearing here is
We're running a
obviously,
little too lean. We're running a little too lean.
well, to what I've seen for numbers, I would say it would be pretty much almost impossible to do
Function,
the job 100% that needs to be done.
correct.
I'm not here saying, gee, rack up your budget or whatever.
Right.
We have to try to find a way to work with each department.
Yeah.
And, money's been tough for all of us, every department, and, I will, at our next meeting, I'm gonna bring it up and just say that, it's really a great concern and
Well, we're seeing
My
that,
suggestion
we,
would be-
we are running short. I can't remember in the last 15 years if we really actually sat down and had any discussions about increasing the overall budget. I think we were still doing pretty good with the WPA. We were able to get people into their classes. I didn't see
We are
any
able-
issue.
To do that. We have to be able to do that. But
Exactly, it's a part
when
of
it
it.
comes time to want, or the need to hire an independent consultant to review things,
Mhm.
even though that is the responsibility of the applicant, if there's anything that we need to hire out, even property, balance marking, it just, conservation land maintenance.
Do you wanna maybe we should just table this for the time being, maybe get a short-term subcommittee meeting going, really over.
Some could.
Right, looking at it.
Literally, some way to figure out what is the bottom line, really what,
what are your needs?
right.
Yeah.
What does it cost you
Only
guys
way we're gonna
to
get-
the
Is
job?
there a way to do even a capital I'll call it capital expense fund, I'm butchering it either way.
Yeah,
But,
no.
okay, well, a war chest, so that if we need something, if we need a tool, a couple $100 tool, we don't have to apply for a
Right, we need a
grant.
tape measure, an auger, if we, bug
Right.
spray.
We had to put that in for a capital expense
Yeah,
line item for an auger.
only way we're gonna get to this is we're gonna need to take and go back to a decade's worth of review to find out where it was 10 years ago as to where it is on a dollar and cents basis. You're gonna look for those facts. If we can't come in front of you just saying, hey, we'd just like a little bit more money.
Well, what do you,
Sure,
We just can't afford, we can't afford to operate
This
anymore.
is what we had for a budget,
Then,
but now things are a little more sophisticated, a little more high-tech, a little more involved in everything that you do. And,
But is there a way to,
justify what you need in the 3 budgets that I've sat in on, you know,
usually
I
fire
pretty
department,
much-
police,
I do fire, I done police, you know, building inspector.
okay.
You know, when them budgets come in, you present the budget and you have backup for it. Then we have to just look at it and we gotta figure out how to get from point A
You
to
gotta,
B.
you gotta try to find a way. You
Yeah.
Try to find your way there.
So we're gonna need to show them why we could have done this if we had that, you know.
yes, exactly.
We need to be able to justify the means. They're not gonna sit there and say, well, the guys just need a little more cash. That's not gonna fly.
Well, do you have like an idea what would be something that, so when I.
That's why we need to put a little time.
I think to do it
Well,
right.
I'll
we
give you an
should.
example, we have, as an example. Jessica, please help me with this one. Most of the Conservation Commission owned properties are not marked. The bounds are not marked.
What do you mean, Jimmy? What's
We don't have
not marked?
Mass Wildlife, but they mark their boundaries.
Correct, they
So
blaze
that
them.
hunters, so say hunters,
They're
well,
blazed, yeah, yep.
they know where they
Line blazed,
can and
it's
can't go.
painted, it's marked, it's.
There's a particular I'm familiar with them. I mean, yeah, they just did them up in West Meadow Road. Anyway, yeah.
I think you're familiar with it, but Jessica and Matt tried to do what they could to check in on these properties. And a lot of them are so overgrown, you can't even get through them. But we only have so many hours in a week for,
What
our
did she
staff.
need to mark boundary areas for? What, for our own conservation properties?
The town should know what they own.
You think? Yeah.
And, you know, good boundaries make for good neighbors, they make for a lot of different things.
Are we running short with certain areas that aren't bounded correctly and that we're
We
losing
don't
revenue
know.
on it? Or,
Got a lot of stuff, don't know.
Like
where
you
it
had
is.
a cleanup area, or you were going to clean up an area because it was, you know, you knew it was conservation,
I'm
but
missing that.
everything
I spent
had,
most of my life walking in the woods.
oh, yeah.
Hundreds of pieces of property, our family owns many, many, many of them, always been pretty good at finding bounds.
and you
Oh,
were
yeah,
looking
but
for
my
volunteers and
question
stuff,
is-
so.
so
It's-
Jessica has
it's
gotten
tough.
phone calls about hunting,
Okay, all right.
conservation lands.
Yeah.
How do you know, and technology now is different, you can download apps
GPS
and
and
will tell you.
Understand and things
Where
like
they are,
that.
yeah.
will
Yeah.
help.
You see, you get someone in there that, they don't do that. You should know, but you also have issues where neighbors start to encroach.
Oh, for sure.
I say good bounds make for good neighbors.
Oh, no, I mean, before you know it, once they've been there for so long, hey, it's mine, it always has been, I get it. If,
It's that, it's, you know, it's dumping of yard waste and garbage and, yeah, encroachment, like, oh, I'm just gonna cut down a tree a year and mow it and plant grass seed and, I mean, back to the hunting thing too. I mean, yeah, especially starting now, we get inquiries about hunting on Conscom property, which it's allowed, but if we can't tell them, oh, but, you know, here are the boundaries of this parcel, every single thing surrounding this parcel is residential land, you know, it's trespassing. More importantly, it's a safety issue. So, you know, a goal is just to go out. We have the little markers that you can put up onto a tree, but we don't have the time to put them up. It would be nice to hire somebody. We don't even know the exact like lat long of the boundary corners to be able to go and put those signs up sufficiently anyway. We don't have the resources to do that. So it's, you know, all signs are pointing to subbing that out to somebody, but that's going to cost money.
so this is an
A perfect
accumulation of
example,
what
Jimmy,
we
you
need.
gave was a tape measure.
Sure. So this presents an accumulation of some of the information we need, I mean, we need to predicate some money to having these areas properly bounded, make sure that they are in good order.
So that's a good reason why we need more money to do this.
But we should be able to allocate that money or utilize that money as we, so choose to, and it shouldn't be a line item in our budget.
Okay.
Because what if something happens and it doesn't get done? You lose it.
So that's why I was saying, if we can get out of this, I mean, we're not gonna get anywhere unless we get it on paper. We have to justify what we're looking
Yeah.
for money, so when we slide it to the selectmen and the FinCom and everything, they're gonna say, hey, these guys, they got their ducks lined up. I can understand why they need this, I can understand why they need that, so it'll work. So if I were to say, I don't think I was wrong, if we needed to put a good subcommittee together to where we can work it, get these numbers, look at all, accumulate all these properties, and we'll have to hit the bricks, get out there and see what we gotta do.
And that's a whole nother thing that
We
can
have
discuss.
emblems and we have everything that this is an endangered bordering. I have them for four-wheelers, et cetera, et cetera. So if this is what we need to do, I'm in. I'll help work with that. Plotting and seeing what the land, you know, what we need to get more money, because we do need it. It's not what,
Because
My suggestion would be, I'll be happy to bring this, that this is being talked about, so at least we're getting on the radar.
the beginning of the wheels moving.
Instead of me coming up with any kind of number or anything,
No,
you guys put something together, what are your real needs?
Ultimately, that's the only way you can
but
do
we
it.
also wanna
Otherwise,
have,
we can't justify it, you know,
Right.
people would
But we don't
crucify
wanna
the
have
board,
to-
which is, oh, we gave conservation $2,000, what'd you give it to them?
Why?
Why?
And if we do get our ducks in
but
a
we
row,
don't need, I don't wanna have to sit there and say, we need a soil probe, that's $300. We need this, it's $400, and it's individual line items.
No,
How
I
can
think
we-
you could break that down, I think if Jessica,
general,
I'm throwing you
But
under
it's
the bus,
general
that's
general,
fine.
general tools and materials.
If we break a tool, where's that money gonna come from?
Just
You should
talk
have a
with the
general,
town
a general tools
administrator
and
and
materials,
ask him
some kind of a.
Something, a
it should be
general
something-
fund,
Yeah, it should be
A
something
general
like
fund
that,
that
but
you can draw
general
out of,
tools
but
and materials would
have
be
Jessica
one, you
talk
know,
with Eric and
something
see
like
how the
that,
right
put some
way to
money
do
in
it.
there, so
it's
happening.
us, it's not just, it's helping
Well, she's
us.
helping, but she might have a
There's some
better
good,
way of working.
there's some good
Sorry,
GPS
Jessica.
data systems out there.
I'm not conservation anymore. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Way it works to help them.
But I found a screw up
But no,
today.
I'll chime in real quick too. So, I mean, even just outside of the boundary markings, almost every meeting we're going through saying, oh my gosh, we really need to do better public outreach and education, because so many of these violations and things that come across our desks,
Yeah.
people just don't even know anything about it. So if we could just something as simple as print a flyer to mail out to everybody,
Yep.
but we can't even do that. So start small and work our way up. But yeah, if we could have sort of like a general fund type thing for wish list projects that aren't very specific line items, that would give you a little more flexibility on, these projects.
Well, it was the world if we were able to do that. Because right now, we have we have come up with ideas, and right now, the commissions, we don't have an agent, we don't have an admin. We have a handful of enforcement cases that are either in front of us, behind us, or on our radars.
on our radars. I
So
agree.
there's a lot of negativity. I wanna see the positive side of what we're trying to do and, at least have that to latch on to, so it's not just always,
Yeah,
a grim outlook.
so we need to do some work on being
And I don't
able to
think we
present
need to
something to
make it
FinCom and the selectmen
Super
for,
complicated either,
Yeah.
like Jessica said.
Keep it simple.
Yeah,
I will, in the liaison reports, I will say, it's at the meeting, you asked me to come in. These are some of the concerns. Is there a way we can get into a further discussion? And tell them that,
absolutely. There
Yeah,
should be no reason that we
is
should have all the avenues available to us to reach out and seek some money.
to.
I mean, and once again, there's grants out there that I know we could look at. That even
Yes.
Walden Woods will present us with grant classes, because that's how I
Yep.
went through
we did the
several classes
invasive
with them.
class here this, spring.
Correct.
So,
So it's no
there's that,
different than
but
Jimmy
it's
looking for
the
an under,
day-to-day operations.
okay.
And yes, the grant though, having that invasive class was, the step in the right direction.
Yeah,
We were able to buy
Totally
some
agree.
tools, we were able to have a presentation and some hands-on experience. Should have been lunch too, but whatever.
You hit the nail on the head, Jimmy, you should have a quantified list of why you're asking for it, what the money's gonna be.
you have to. In this day and time, nobody's gonna, Well, it's just because we think we really need it. It doesn't fly. We have to show justification for the means to come our way. That's the, we all know this, so that's why we gotta work on it and see what we can do. And it's even tougher because we don't have an advent and we're running short on members. So nothing's easy nowadays. I get it.
But I'll bring it to the board on October 3rd. I'll get the door open. And then our next meeting, whenever your meeting is, I'll try, and if you guys got some more. And that's what it's about, that's what the liaison's for. What's
I'll
about.
throw this one at you before we move on, Joe. There's a lot of parcels in Timberley Park that are tiny. They don't really do anything for us.
That we
own.
conservation owns or
Yes.
towns and
Same,
owns.
same with like
Conservation.
over off the old Emery Road, Sumac,
Bunch of
several
little,
little tiny little pieces.
that
And,
we all
So
know.
when we own these, what is the sense of conservation owning it?
well, there's a member of the properties committee, when I put my properties committee hat on,
Yeah,
we've discussed it for many years of offering
a butter.
the butter, the purchase price of it for reasonable money. And that gets that small parcel of property that now generates the
Off the-
town of
off the
Townsend
books.
zero.
Yeah.
It might generate the town of Townsend a couple $100 a year. Well, maybe not a lot of money, but you multiply that times 10.
Count the pennies, the dollars fall. You and I grew up hearing that from our
That's
fathers.
right.
So, I mean, once again, that's a part of what we should be
And
looking
that's what
into.
we have our
with the sub-
liaison to open the door.
Yep, and I'm sure Joe will. I don't see anything on account of resistance there. But I would like to look into, if we're sitting on land, and that's just gonna get me into another, why don't we generate some money from Fish and Game for all the property that they sit on and we don't get a nickel for? Maybe we should tell Fish and Game from now on, since they have 5,000 acres in our town, we want some money, so our conservation commission.
Well, no, Forest and Facts and.
How many acres do they sit on,
Forest and
Kevin?
Facts on more. I can't
2/3.
we go 3,800 acres, I think, on one.
And we only want $1. Per
We
acre.
just want 1,000 acres back.
You know where I'm going on that.
You
and that'll get me
know
all
what you're
wound up.
doing with me, so you're baiting me here.
It's
Well, I mean,
it's a moot
you've
point.
seen that special town meeting, I think the town's moving in the right direction. We had pieces of property that had been not on the tax roll for years,
Yeah.
not doing anything.
Yeah.
Town finally approved,
They are.
let's move forward,
Right.
sell them, get it in the tax revenue. And maybe some of that money can be used in different, there's a
Either-
lot of
either-
good going on.
Like you guys said, generate a couple $100 for even 50 times however many properties. I know this list is long, right, Jessica? In these little postage.
Conservation, we have, I think, 31 parcels.
Yeah, we.
But
gave
I
you-
will note, I do want to note, I don't have the table in front of me, but a lot of them are like, open space requirements for subdivisions. So we can't do anything, like, they have to stay like that, but there might be other options, but.
It's not those that I think are in question, Jessica.
It's the
It's
Timberley
the
Park,
towns,
the
it's
Emery.
it's the Emery
area.
Road,
It's those
Timberley
small-
Park, little
small-
tiny little pieces that were just, but somehow we just seemed to end up with them because they were subdivided lots. Then 40 years ago, they couldn't build on them, so they just didn't pay the taxes on them. The town ended up with them. We looked at them with a different hat and figured we'll just give them to the Conservation Commission. Conservation Commission's got them, and some of them should be just dealt with.
So that would be
Eliminate some
another thing would
inventory.
be good for us to take an overview. If we're gonna sit on a little half-acre lot in the middle of Timberley Park that nobody can really get to
And that have
enjoy
already
on
been
it,
encroached on, well, most likely.
you can be sure of it. That's another good avenue to work towards. So, all right, like you said, Kevin, go to the abutter, hey, listen, this is what we want. How'd you like to increase some of
You
your
wanna get
property?
together with your neighbor, split it in half, each one, if there's half an acre.
Million
you
different
buy a
beautiful
quarter piece,
scenarios.
A couple of different things can be
Pay the
done.
fees.
Yeah,
Pay
take
the-
care of the cost, take care of the cost.
Yep.
You know, give the
Let's
town,
look
a-
into some
give
of
the
that,
town a
because if it's
stipend of
not giving us-
$1,000.
If it's not any worth in a conservation standpoint, or if it's not in our,
If we can legally do it,
You know?
which I believe that there's gotta be some way that we can. I don't know how that. we're
I'm
written.
sure within the deed, it can be written that this,
Well, the charter of conservation as well, you know,
Right.
getting something like that
Right.
dealt with. I mean, there's certain
Charter,
parcels,
and
there's
there's
certain
different-
parcels of property in towns that obviously need to be kept for conservation purposes.
For sure.
If they're along the side of the river or anything like that, certainly, but the ones in question, I think we're all familiar with, it's those little blocks and parcels.
Triangles here and there.
These little nitbit pieces that,
I mean, a
That
classic
came from
example. Is what
You know,
George
from a
Somerville's
few
been
former
working on for the
subdivisions
last
in town.
10 years with thinking of just all these little
All
pieces.
them little.
That got cut off, forgotten about, and it's like, and he's putting fires out to this day with that,
So-
all that.
let's.
Yeah, so
We'll-
that, once
we will-
again, we do have things that we
We
can
will-
figure out and go at, so.
Put
and
this
this
on
isn't the
discussion
time.
for next meeting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it'd be great, just independently to come back with some rough ideas of
Yep,
what we, should look at. But I wanna keep things moving, because it is 8:30 and we do have an executive session, what?
so we wanna get moving.
yes.
We're almost
we should-
done.
Yeah,
I will bring it up. And
I'm gonna bum Kevin one more question. You do have, there is an actual number of the amount of property F and G has in town.
Who?
Fish and Game,
I don't know what that acreage is, I can't recall.
but they must have that in a,
Yeah, they do.
Well, it's
They do.
fishing, there's Mass Fishing and Wildlife, and then
Yeah.
there's,
DCR.
Forest and Parks of DCR.
Department of Conservation.
DCR is the,
Major stockholder there,
correct.
but I'll tell you what, F and G's coming up.
They are, they are,
It's lining up a lot, they're getting a lot.
yeah.
Oh,
All right, let's
Thanks,
continue on.
Thanks, John. Thanks.
If I can cut in real quick, just that, going back to the budget in general, I like the passion, but I mean, just know that you guys also have the ability to go out and search for grant opportunities that might fit well with some of our wish list projects. We have a new grant writer in the office.
So marking
works-
the property bounds, there was rent that was, we were told about, but it had like a really quick turnaround.
Mhm.
But it was specifically that was a specific example. Sorry, Jessica, I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I think by the time we were notified, there was like a 2-week turnaround before it was due. But yeah, just I encourage you guys to take the passion tonight and go start looking around elsewhere too. So we don't have to be 100% reliant on town budget. Please.
How budget it is.
is that what she just saw?
No, don't worry.
It was passion she saw. Are you sure that was passion?
Ain't no
Anger,
passion.
whatever, you know.
Okay, so, 3.2, request for extending, the order of conditions for Greenville Road, bridge replacement, over Walker Brook, DEP number 3080680.
Jimmy got the grant money for that anyway, right?
Yes.
So,
Jessica, you need to present this, I need to abstain from it.
are you doing the work?
No comment.
It's 3 point, what again?
3.2. You're muted.
You wanna do some hand signals to see if you can get her attention?
Oh, sorry. Man. Well, Ethan's crying in the background. So distracting. Ugh. Okay. Anyway, Highway Department has an order of conditions to replace a culvert carrying Walker Brook under Greenville Road up beyond the transfer station. The work has not been done yet, but they're planning on doing it in the next 6 months, I think. So their order expires in November. So this is just a request to extend their permit for another couple years. to be able to do that work under an order of conditions. So that's all.
So the 2020, we're gonna extend it to 2025?
Motion to extend
I
that.
can't discuss it.
No, I'll make a motion to extend that order of conditions for that over Walker, for that bridge work over Walker Brook. Make a motion to extend that for a 2-year period of 2 years. Give me a second on that, Jimmy.
Second. And that's gonna go, that's DEP 308-0680 to 2025?
Yeah, I don't know if I did 3, sorry, I don't know if I did 3 years or what did I put on the forms to sign? Hold on.
Said 2.
Um,
2025 question mark on that one.
oh, extend, I already filled out the form for you guys to sign. So it's for a 3-year extension, valid
Right.
until November 5th, 2026, if that is
Please.
acceptable to you.
He won't be in jeopardy with the grant, so that,
Different
He can-
project, totally separate project.
all right.
Yeah, nothing to do, one has nothing to do
So
with
then we
the
have to have roll call here. A vote.
other. Yeah, make a roll call vote.
Jim Duran approve.
Kevin Smith,
Pat Jamal, yes.
James Gates abstained.
Mr. Gates must abstain.
Next.
Here, you guys can sign it.
What are these last week's?
No, these are for the, what you guys just voted on. There are 4 copies.
Send them to me.
All right, 3.3 that moved to 10/11. 3.4 Old Meeting House Park Trail Maintenance Event this Saturday, at 9 o'clock. If anyone can join, that would be great. I'm planning on going for a couple hours.
What's that? I didn't get.
Old Meeting House Park Trail Maintenance, is being put on by, North County Land Trust.
Okay, yeah.
And it starts at 9 o'clock, goes for a couple hours.
I signed that one.
You got that one, you got this one,
Yeah.
this one's done. These are.
So anyone that could join
done.
would be great. And I don't know the last time they've done something like this, so it's kind of a experiment, see,
1, 2,
That was-
3.
I'm sorry, what time was that?
9 o'clock.
All of you that abstain, just file them.
Okay.
Yeah.
3.5, 187 Pierce Road. Jessica,
Morris Benjamin Builders, is that the one?
it's not, they're not the
3.5?
permit holders, they're just the builder.
Okay.
What, okay, wrote down what it was. So we are going to, they're out of compliance at this point. They have not done,
The mitigation.
mitigation.
Yep, there was single or 2 mitigate areas they were gonna
2
mitigate.
or 3?
2 or 3 on Pierce.
It was a culvert crossing of like a transitional sort of, it seemed, intermittent / wetland area. So they had a planting area for mitigation that was never done.
Their orders of conditions have now expired. Jessica started reaching out to them a year ago. They were responsive at first and now they've gone silent. The last correspondence you had with them, they were thinking of reaching out to us to ask for a waiver.
To see if there's an alternative mitigation option that was less expensive.
I encourage everyone to go drive by this property.
187 Pierce Road, it's on my radar, yep. What are we looking for? What are your concerns?
Well, the area that cleared is way outside the work boundary that is noted on the plan
Okay,
in terms of just vegetation. Start with that.
all
There's no
right.
mitigation that was done. They're out of compliance. There's no,
They do, there was no mitigation done, is that?
nope, it was never completed. The orders and conditions have expired.
So
They
we're
are
looking at,
technically
usually
in-
it's a 1,200-foot area for mitigation when they usually do it, right?
Jessica?
It depends on the size of impact.
Okay, but I always thought there was a minimal of square footage when they do a mitigation. So what I'm saying is we're looking at a minimum, if there's 3 different sites, there's
I don't,
close to
I
3,000
didn't look
square
at the-
foot, maybe.
I don't know, I didn't look at the plan exactly.
Okay,
It could be, it probably, that's a maximum, I believe.
right, because you
Right.
usually have 1,200 square feet on any
It's been a while.
mitigations usually. That's the rule,
So
but it could be more because of like,
their permit has expired. They did not fulfill their permit obligations or requirements. They're technically in violation.
mhm,
I would like us, to send out a, letter, a notice of violation letter. And that's the precursor to enforcement.
right. Are we obligated to send them that letter after we've already made communication, put them in violation?
It's formal, certified letter, notice of violation.
Okay,
Request appearance at one of our October meetings, present what they want,
okay.
and then we can issue enforcement.
As of now, we're not offering any type of a alternative for this.
Now,
What they're expecting.
I made that offer a year ago. And they never
Okay.
took it. So,
And
yeah.
they had nothing to do with it, Jessica?
How
They never
so?
They didn't get back to you on that?
I extended several, opportunities for them to come before the commission, to hire their own wetlands consultant, to come before the commission to potentially offer an alternative
Yeah,
to the permitted mitigation at the time.
crickets?
They found out the price tag on that and then just stopped. And then most recently, like starting a month or so, I guess, before their order expired, I said, why don't you at least put in a request to extend your order of conditions so that buys everyone a little bit more time. And
Yeah,
I did that multiple times, and
they went to
I stopped hearing back.
Can we find them?
Look at the twinkle in his eye.
violation, put them in violation.
So
Enough
I don't think we
communications.
need,
Enough is it the same with this other guy up beyond the fire station. I went up there to
so
approach
that,
him. I'm
with
like,
that too,
Here, I have to hop off for a second. I'll come back.
okay.
I'm becoming
So
very short.
both of those properties,
Mhm,
certified letter with a notice of violation,
mhm.
invite them to one of the meetings next month.
Come on in.
After that, enforcement begins at the $300 a day or week or whatever
Okay.
per violation.
Mhm.
I have no hesitation to move forward in that regard, It's getting to a point where we're wasting more time in discussion for some
We're
of
not
these
gonna,
things.
I don't think we need to, if you guys wanna vote on this, fine, but, that's
Yeah, no, I agree.
Why don't we table that to the next meeting?
table it.
Well, we visit it again at the next meeting.
I think
Kevin,
we
your
should
reason
just-
for,
Yeah,
Yeah. We don't have to discuss it further. It's pretty cut and dry at this point.
Okay.
I guess my point being is that if Jessica's taking the time and it's been a year and we're not getting results from certain people, they're not responding, they're not getting back to us, at what point in time do you throw your hands in the air and say,
Send them a letter.
I mean, we have sent them letters, right? Do we want to send another one
For
or give them
61 Edward? Yes.
give them a bottom line? Enough is enough.
This is.
We don't have time
the
for it.
Notice of violation is the bottom line.
Okay, DEP's already on it and
They're not on it, but their guidance
okay,
was to send, it was town council guidance.
okay.
Says send a certified notice of violation, and it's a precursor to enforcement.
Hmm.
And it keeps it clean for us,
Okay,
and then we can, it lays out the deadline to.
and I'm
to
all,
the
I
meetings,
think,
and
I'm all for
after
working
that,
with
it's-
people to the end, but if,
You've dealt with this even when you were on before with 61 Edwards. With
that's why I've gotten to a point where I'm a little just,
187 Pierce, I know the builder isn't on the permit, but the builder's the builder, and the builder we've had other issues with.
Is that Benjamin?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just have another memory of somebody out on Pierce Road doing some work, that's all.
So 187 was, like I said, try by it.
Okay.
It's the dead end side on Ash Street, so
So when we're going up, shoot the right, okay. Okay. Yeah, right out to the. Yep.
so,
But it being three separate different mini areas.
2, 3, whatever it was,
Mm,
whatever the plan calls.
mhm. Okay, let's keep this.
Education conferences, the MACC 2023 fall conferences at Devon's 1028. You can sign up through the
Yeah,
their website.
okay.
And if you need help, Jimmy, I'm sure
I'm probably gonna sign up for that one.
it's Saturday.
I was looking at something in Walden Woods that on soils, I'd like to do a little more work with my, you know, on my different chromas and my different wetland up. But that's,
I got an email this week about
that's where I
delineation,
lack a lot on. Okay.
that the state is looking for parcels to delineate.
Oh, really? And that would be probably a good walkthrough on it. All right.
So next meeting will be held Wednesday, October 11th, 2023 at 7 PM. Board of Select Chambers, second floor. This meeting will also be held virtual Zoom remote in accordance with COVID-19 safe meeting guidelines. We will be entering an executive session after this meeting, but I need a motion to adjourn at 8:43.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the Conservation Commission meeting of September
It's the 27th.
27th at 8:44.
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
Jim Dornan.
James Gates, yes.
Kevin Smith, yes.
Pat Gemma, yes.